From the Weather NorCal Command Center, this is your morning update.
Well, the weekend is here and we can look forward to some pretty decent temperatures, at least for this time of the year. It's still going to be warm, but we're going to be out of the triple digits anywhere you go, including the valley, but of course the mountains too. So a great weekend to get out and enjoy some of the great events we have this weekend. Maybe go out into the mountains, enjoy the even cooler weather up there, and enjoy some of the great trails that we've got, hiking trails, mountain biking trails, waterfalls, whatever it is you like to do to get out there and enjoy this beautiful weather, at least cooler weather than we've seen over the last weekends. But not much change going well into next week. No big heat waves either. But I am tracking the potential for some mountain thunderstorms in the long range. We'll get into that here in just a second. But what I want to show you here are a couple of things. We're going to start with some of the fire danger because this right here, this area of brown, is new for at least Saturday, today, because we've been in the low risk, in the yellow. Now, the reason being is we look at the winds, right? If the winds are expected to pick up, that's going to elevate that fire danger, especially when it's dry out there and you've got those gusty winds. If a fire should start, that fire will spread very rapidly. And that's why we have to really use extreme caution here when we do expect those winds. Use caution all the time, but use extreme caution when we start seeing those winds kick in. So this is what it looks like as we go through this afternoon. Look at this. I mean, we're seeing the gusts between 25 and over 30 miles per hour. That's not good. We don't want the winds to be that strong. And look at this in extreme eastern Lassen County. You're getting into some of the deeper reds. So now we're getting in the 30 and over 30 to over 40 miles per hour for some of those higher mountain ridges. Now you head off to the west, you'll notice the winds aren't quite as strong, including the valley, but still a little breezy even in the valley. Now we're going to take you into Sunday. So Sunday morning, the winds die down. Sunday afternoon, the wind's picking up. But notice the winds aren't going to be quite as strong on Sunday, but there is going to be some elevated fire danger, as you can see, off into Modoc County. So we do have that elevated fire danger there, and not to mention extreme eastern portions of Lassen County as well. But notice the winds, once again, not as strong heading into the valley. And then Monday, this is where things are looking a little bit better, because as we go into Monday, look at this. Now we're only seeing gusts of upwards of not even 20 miles per hour. So the wind should start to die down, at least for the mountains, by the time we do get into Monday of next week. So here's your forecast for today. Not bad, right? I mean, you think about last weekend, well, it was over 110 degrees. Take a look at the mountains, temperatures in the 80s for most of us. I mean, we could touch 90 degrees in places like Etna, not to mention Susanville. Otherwise, mainly in the upper 80s for those daytime highs in the mountains. Now, I want to also talk to you about the potential for thunderstorms in the forecast. Because as we go into Monday, Tuesday in particular, this right here is monsoon moisture working its way up from the south. Now, typically what we've seen here is a lot of mid and high level monsoon moisture, typically not conducive for a lot of thunderstorm activity. So as we go into Wednesday night into Thursday, what we're seeing here, see this, these are thunderstorms popping up. If you look closely, kind of hard to see, but if you look closely, there's some thunderstorm activity trying to develop in the eastern mountains, not to mention even into Modoc County. Now we're going to take you into Thursday, and now we're seeing the potential for some thunderstorms in southwest Oregon, and not to mention in extreme northern California as well. Now you'll notice a lot of the monsoon moisture is moving out at that point, but we could still see maybe some activity here Thursday evening, Thursday night. And then by the end of the week into that next weekend, it looks like it's all pretty much gone, but maybe some more moisture coming in from the south. So what can we take from this? Well, number one, it's still a ways out, and we're going to have to continue to monitor this here very closely. But we are starting to see a little bit more consistency in that potential for that monsoon moisture to work its way up by the middle to latter part of next week. And that could also lead to the potential for some thunderstorms, which unfortunately, as you know, can lead to dry lightning, is something we need to watch. The heat through next week is down to our south and east, but then eventually it bounces back and it heads down to our south by the end of next week into that next weekend. So this is not tomorrow right here. This is looking at a week from tomorrow. So that heat is going to be building back in. We're going to notice those temperatures increasing at that point. But some colder air to our north and west, I think, is going to squash that heat, push it back down to the south. But that colder air is also going to be moving in, allowing our temperatures to drop again. So here's your forecast for Saturday. That's a long ways out. That is a pattern that I'm watching for now, and we'll keep you updated should that begin to materialize. So take a look at your forecast for today. As I was mentioning, yeah, it's below normal. It's going to be a pleasant weekend, I guess you could say. I mean, for the standpoint of instead of 110, it's going to be 97 in Red Bluff and Redding. Instead of over 100 degrees for Chico, it'll be 95. So we'll certainly take that over those temperatures of 110 degrees or higher. And look at the mountains. We're in the 80s for most of us. Some of us may touch 90, especially out in Trinity County. But otherwise, yeah, I mean, you're mainly in the mid to upper 80s for most of us in the higher elevations. So your 7-day forecast is calling for upper 80s, low 90s, pretty much anywhere you go for the next 7 days. For Mount Shasta, for El Turris, for Susanville. I think Susanville probably closer to the 90-degree mark, but you get the idea. It's not going to be changing much over the next 7 days. And that's the story for the valley. Of course, it's going to be warmer, but not much change. It warms up a little bit on Monday, maybe even close to 100 degrees on Tuesday, but we're back down in the mid-90s by Wednesday for Redding. And you can see Chico, I think you're going to dodge 100 degrees for the next 7 days, eventually down to 92 by next Wednesday, mid-90s by next Thursday and Friday.